मैम म्यूट कर लो, वी आर अबाउट टू गेट लाइव। मैम वी आर लाइव नाउ।
Thank you for joining webinar on Learn to Live with Corona. Please stay tuned. We are starting soon.
The webinar is now broadcasted to all the attendees.
Okay. Thank you for joining webinar on Learn to Live with Corona. Please stay tuned. We are starting soon.
स्टार्ट कर दी।
श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी यूजीसी मानक प्राप्त विद्यार्थों अंडर ग्रेजुएट पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट ਅਤੇ PhD ਕੋਰਸਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਾਖਲਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ। ਉੱਤਮ ਲੈਬ ਸਹੂਲਤਾਂ, ਖੂਬਸੂਰਤ ਹੋਸਟਲ, ਵਧੀਆ ਪਲੇਸਮੈਂਟ, ਅਨੇਕਾਂ ਵਜ਼ੀਫੇ। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी फतेहगढ़ साहिब। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी UGC recognized, offering state-of-the-art infrastructure and opportunities in MNCs. Come to write your success story.
कर दो शुरू।
So
Thank you for joining webinar on Learn to Live with Corona. Please stay tuned. We are starting soon.
श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी यूजीसी ਮਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੋਂ ਅੰਡਰ ਗ੍ਰੈਜੂਏਟ ਪੋਸਟ ਗ੍ਰੈਜੂਏਟ ਅਤੇ PhD ਕੋਰਸਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਾਖਲਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ। ਉੱਤਮ ਲੈਬ ਸਹੂਲਤਾਂ, ਖੂਬਸੂਰਤ ਹੋਸਟਲ, ਵਧੀਆ ਪਲੇਸਮੈਂਟ, ਅਨੇਕਾਂ ਵਜ਼ੀਫੇ। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी फतेहगढ़ साहिब। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी UGC recognized, offering state-of-the-art infrastructure and labs, placement opportunities in MNCs, vibrant and enriching environment. Come to write your success story.
Okay.
प्रदीप इसका फोकस ऐसे हो जाएगा, दो लोग आगे समझे।
Okay. So, a very good morning to all of you. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Dr. Pritpal Singh Ji, our panelists for the webinar, Dr. Sanjay Badada and Dr. Varinder Garg, and all the participants. On the behalf of Department of Physiotherapy, Shri Guru Granth Sahib World University Fatehgarh Sahib, I, Dr. Supreet Bindra, welcome you all to this webinar on Learn to Live with Corona. We are honored to have amongst us the esteemed presence of our worthy Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Dr. Pritpal Singh Ji, whose support and encouragement have always been instrumental in carrying out various activities by the department from the time to time. We are privileged to have amongst us the valuable presence of our panelists, Dr. Sanjay Badada, Professor Endocrinology, PGI MER, Chandigarh. Sir is the recipient of prestigious ICMR MN Sen Oration Award and PN Shah Oration and AR Seth Award from Endocrine Society of India for his seminal work on hyperthyroidism. Welcome, sir. We also acknowledge the revered presence of Dr. Varinder Garg as a panelist. Sir is OSD to President PGI MER Chandigarh. Sir is Principal Investigator for ICMR Center for Innovation and Biodesign Project at PGI Chandigarh. He is President of Society for Affordable Healthcare, and his key research area is use of technology in making healthcare affordable. Sir is involved in various projects of Seva Bharati and has started a doctors group named Medcos Foundation. Welcome, sir. As of December 2019, the novel coronavirus outbreak has tormented the entire globe and has taken a significant toll on people all across the world, with WHO declaring it as a pandemic. On 24th March 2020, Government of India ordered a nationwide lockdown for 21 days, limiting the movement of entire 1.3 billion population of India as a preventive measure against the COVID-19. It's been 55 days and the entire nation is under fourth lockdown due to COVID. When India adopted its first lockdown and the number of cases were 500, everyone was optimistic that we will break the chain and spread of COVID. But now we are into fourth lockdown and the number of cases are on rise, and there is reduction in number of days for doubling of COVID cases. COVID-19 has led to extreme fear and panic, which is justifiable and understandable given the sudden onset of seemingly deadly new virus. People are petrified of contracting the infection, and unfortunately, there is a social stigma associated with the disease, and so are the associated myths. The impact of COVID is not limited to the health, but it has had a devastating effect on the economy worldwide. Now, due to lockdown, several deaths were reported, with other reasons being starvation, suicides, exhaustion, road and rail accidents, police brutality, and denial of medical care. The WHO Emergencies Chief, Dr. Michael Ryan, has said that it is impossible to predict that when this pandemic would be controlled. The new coronavirus might be here to stay. Moreover, it may take years to build up sufficient levels of immunity. Coronavirus is likened to be like HIV, which hasn't disappeared, but measures have been developed by people to live with it. So the government has now declared that we have to live with the virus, urging people to make COVID-19 prevention guidelines as a part of their lives as a behavioral change amid easing of lockdown restrictions. So we need to gradually prepare ourselves for this new normal, and keeping this in view, this webinar has been organized to understand the current scenario of COVID-19 and to demystify the myths and clinical facts about COVID-19. So not taking much of your time, I would now request our panelist, Dr. Varinder Garg, to begin his talk on global versus Indian scenario of COVID-19. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Roxa. Esteemed presence of Dr. Pritpal Singh Ji, Vice Chancellor, Shri Guru Granth Sahib University, Fatehgarh Sahib, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Sanjay Badhara, Professor of Endocrinology, Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research, and all other esteemed panelists and our dear participants. So today I will be focusing upon the COVID scenario, the worldwide scenario versus Indian scenario. As we all know, COVID is a new disease which has plagued the entire globe, and till yesterday, 48,62,000 cases has been reported and 3,18,700 deaths has occurred. And the situation is more severe in some selected areas in Europe and America. Till date, there are total 26 lakhs 54,000 active cases in world and out of around 44,000 people are serious or critical and are in intensive care unit, even required ventilation. And around 22 lakhs patient has been recovered and they have declared as corona negative now. And total around 3,20,000 deaths has occurred. So when we compare this scenario with the Indian scenario, so in India, conditions are much more light and much more to us, our comfort. Disease is not very severe, and there are around 1,326,000 confirmed cases till yesterday. Out of them, around 39,000 cases are now declared corona-free. They have recovered out of the disease, and around 3,100 deaths has occurred in India. And there are around 58,000 active cases in our country. So there are many reasons for this. One is our environment, other is our BCG vaccination, and even our genetic makeup and our already existing immunity to the influenza viruses and flus. In the initial days, our testing rate was very low, and there was a fear that lower number of cases might be due to low testing rate. But in the later days, we have picked up with the test rate, and now we are doing almost 80,000 tests daily. For that, I will also praise the timely decision taken by our central government regarding the lockdown. Because even if disease is milder, but there was a great panic related to the disease, and if there would have been a surge of cases, there would have been a widespread panic among the masses and unrest among the masses, and it would have been deadly for a developing country like India of 1.35 billion people. So 135 crore people, it would have been a really devastating condition for us. When lockdown was announced on 23rd March, only 500 cases were there in the entire country, and there were projections that by the mid-May, there will be around 18 lakh COVID patients in India. But when lockdown was implemented very strictly, then there come another fear that it will create widespread deaths due to famine, due to hunger, and widespread social unrest. It may even lead to the riots and looting. India may turn into a banana republic. But I will appreciate the Indian society, all sections of Indian society, they came forward not only in implementing the lockdown, but to provide the food and shelter and all other necessities to the lesser fortunate brethren, to provide the food, to provide the shelter, to the labor. Even there are many people who are traveling by road, who are traveling by foot to their villages, but the millions of people, they are staying there in the metros, and the rest of the society is taking care of them. So during this pandemic, India out as a matured nation rather than a loosely administrative country. This is a big achievement for us as a nation, as a society. So here is a graph. So I will just discuss few of the stats. We can see this is the graph. In the first red graph, there are number of confirmed cases, daily confirmed cases. First case came around in late February, and then there are around 4,000 to 5,000 cases daily in the last 10 days. There were projections that the case doubling rate will be 3 days. In every 3 days, the number of new confirmed cases will double. But with the effective lockdown and with the cooperation from the all sections of society in India, doubling time period is around 10 days. So second slide, blue slide, that is the total number of the active cases. Here we can see in the later part, there are good number of recovered cases which are shown in the green slide. So even due to the rising graph of the confirmed number, the active number of the active cases is also reducing. Third slide is the number of the daily deaths. So daily deaths are also increasing with the increasing number of the confirmed cases, and that is natural because people with the comorbidities, Dr. Sanjay Badhana will tell you in the detail, they are falling prey to the disease, and who are ignorant in the initial days, so they are also falling prey to the cytokine storm and other complications of the coronavirus disease. So when we look at the world scenario in comparison to the Indian scenario, we find India in a very good situation. There is the last slide in which the number of the tests which are daily done is shown. As you can see, in the initial days, we were doing only 10-20 tests daily. Then in the month of the April, it was around 2,000 to 20,000 daily, but nowadays it's around 1 lakh daily. So we are doing substantially good number of tests per day, and our test positivity rate is only around 4%. It's revolving around 4%. Sometimes it's 3.9, sometimes it's 4.2, 4.3, 4.5. So it's a very good rate because we are doing testing only in these people who are having the symptoms of flu, who are highly clinically suspicious for corona disease, and who have a positive history of exposure to a positive confirmed case. So in this scenario, we are not doing the testing on the mass basis. We are not doing the testing on the volunteer basis. In this scenario, the 4% positivity rate is of much of delight for all of us. It's a very comfortable situation as well as far as disease severity is confirmed concerned in the society. So my carry home message regarding all this data is that so we should be careful, we should be aware, we must follow all the instructions, we must cooperate our health system, our government in containing the corona, but we should not be panicked, we should not create panic, we should not fall prey to panic. There is nothing to panic. We have to be aware to defeat corona. So we are doing so. We are proving all the projections wrong in last 3 months regarding the widespread spread of the disease and regarding the social unrest, regarding the India's capability of sustaining a lockdown for such a long period. So all these fears are proved wrong. So we can defeat corona. As compared to Europe, as compared to Northern America, we are in much comfortable position due to the genetic makeups, due to the environmental conditions, and due to the strict compliance of the lockdown. We are in a much better condition. So we should remain aware, we should remain alert, we must follow all the guidelines, but there is nothing to create panic, there is nothing to fall prey to panic. So this is my final message to all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for updating us with current scenario of COVID in India. Such a sigh of relief for us. As compared to other countries, we are happy to know that the disease is not that severe in India and a number of people have recovered at the same time. And this disease has converted us into a mature nation, and we should not create panic. Thank you, sir. So now I would request our next panelist, Dr. Sanjay Badada, to commence with his talk on myths and clinical facts about COVID-19. Over to you, sir.
Very interesting and important topic, that is myths and the facts of the COVID-19. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So, so we all know that history, don't want to go to the detail of the history that how this happened, but we all know that it started from the Wuhan, and then it spread throughout the world, and now that's why it is mentioned as a pandemic. And as of now, today, almost 213 countries are affected with this coronavirus or this COVID-19. So COVID-19 is very dynamic. Whatever I'm telling here or discussing with you is changing every day and day. So I'll show you some of the slides on that. As we know that the most common presentation of COVID-19 is the three important symptoms are there. One is fever, sore throat, and the breathlessness. Basically, all three features make almost 90% of the symptoms in most of the patients. But there are the certain other features are also there, or maybe all three features may not be there. You must have heard a term like happy hypoxia. That happy hypoxia term is actually given by the SMS Medical College Jaipur doctors, that people are having hypoxia, young people, but they are not really very symptomatic. And when there's a mild symptom, while bringing them towards the hospital, they developed the severe hypoxia, and before reaching to the hospital, they died. Similarly, there other symptoms are also there, like blue toe. That is because of the some thromboembolic phenomena is there. Now I think slides are there. So I was talking to the symptoms. These are the symptoms, and some of the other uncommon symptoms like blue toe, as well as the smell impairment, because the some of the other flus also there is the impairment in the smell, and that can be one of the symptom. Other things, many patients may not have these symptoms. Those are called actually super spreader. The term super spreader meaning by that individual is not having the symptoms, but he is having the infection, and that is spreading. Obviously, he doesn't know, and his nearby people also doesn't know, and then there is a possibility of spreading this infection to the many people. And that's why now the people are thinking little bit paranoid about that, and that is a good idea to be a paranoid that everybody whomsoever you are coming in contact is having the corona. And that's why this physical distancing is very, very important to prevent that. Now, other important thing is that for people, those are having some flu or something like that, everybody may not be having the corona, but the guidelines of the Ministry of Health is there. If anybody is having these symptoms, fever, sore throat, and breathlessness, they should be tested for the COVID. And the symptoms of seriousness of illness increases after the 7th day of the illness usually. So before that may not be symptomatic, but then there is increase in the severe symptoms. Next slide. So now coming to the topic per se, that myths and fact. So you can see on the slide, one side there is a myth. So the myth is that if you use the disinfectant, or you can use alcohol as an injection, and that is the common feature in this part of the country, that alcohol is very fondly used by most of the people, and you have seen that scenario in various part of the country. When the lockdown is open, they open the liquor shop. There is line was long on the outside the liquor shop. but that does not prevent the COVID. That is the important message I want to give you. Next. So there is on the WhatsApp media or some of these preachers are actually telling that wherever this 5G mobile network is there, that is used for the spread of the infection. So I think for a learned people, this is not a question, but this is often given information on the WhatsApp that where the country where the 5G towers are, that increasing the infection. So that is not the fact. Death in COVID-19. So that is very interesting that people think that everybody who develops the COVID, they will die. No, it is not like that. Indeed, the 80% of people or more than 80 to 85% people are having just mild symptoms. They doesn't require any hospitalization. They just keep themselves in quarantine at home. And this practice is very prevalent in the countries, the European countries, where obviously the limitation of beds are there. So the people, those are knowing that they are infected, but they are still at home because 85% people have just mild symptoms. Approximately 20% of people might require hospitalization, and out of these 20%, just 2 to 5% people will require they'll have the serious illness and they may require this ventilator support or the oxygenation, and some of them require for the longer period of time, some of them require for the shorter period of time. Next. So the important question is that if anybody develops the COVID-19 infection, what is the prognosis in that group of patient? So certain comorbidities actually increases the chances of the mortality, and I am just listing some of them here, like cardiovascular disease, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, chronic lung disease, patients suffering from some of the cancer, chronic kidney disease, obesity, and I'll talk a little bit about the smoking, but these are some of the factors. These people are at more risk. So our suggestion is that people, those are suffering from this illness, be little more careful, but nothing to worry, because if their control is good, then the mortality will not increase and the morbidity will be not high. A word about the smoking, that some of the people or some of the study from US, they are telling that the people, those are smoker, those are having less frequent disease and the less severe disease or less mortality. But that was not yet proven. So current status on the smoking is that smoking should be avoided, and the chronic smokers are at more risk because of they are having the chronic lung disease like COPD and all. Common causes of mortality in the patients, those are suffering from COVID-19, is that acute respiratory distress syndrome. That is the most common cause of mortality so far has been seen, and it happens because of the cytokine storm. That cytokine storm is nothing but some of the substances, those are secreted from our body in response to inflammation, and that will actually increase the magnitude of inflammation that will land up the patient into the cytokine storm and develop these all acute respiratory distress syndrome, and that is ultimately land up the patient or leads the patient to the organ failure or multi-organ failure, and that can be a cause of the increased mortality. Next. The next myth is that some particular age patient will not develop the COVID-19 infection. So this is wrong. The infection of COVID-19 has been documented throughout all age group, and even now the concept is there that mothers, those are delivering their baby, should also be checked for that if they are having the COVID-19, because their neonate can develop the COVID-19 as well. So the age is not a bar. So any age can develop the COVID-19, but of course the elderly people are at more risk with relation to the morbidity and mortality. Next. So the same thing, the children will not affected by COVID-19. No, they can be affected. Of course, the disease may be less severe, but they can be affected. Coming to the various substances, those can be used to improve the immunity and your diet. Of course, the diet always be very, very important, and anything which is natural, anything which improves your immunity can be used. But I would like to give a caution here that if you are using that will improve the immunity and you are not taking care of yourself, so that is myth actually. You can take whatever diet, healthy diet, but take care of your all precaution, not on the believing that you are taking this or that diet and that will prevent you from developing the infection. Next. Rinsing the nose with saline. There is some of the people are there telling that if you use this kind of technique that will help to prevent the infection. So it is not like that. Rather than it can be harmful. If you use the warm water, that can actually lead to the abrasion in your nasal mucosa, and that can you predispose for the infection. So should not be try that. Next. Higher temperature. So this is another myth that the temperature is high, then COVID-19 will not develop or the chances are less. So initially we thought of, and even in India we thought of that with increasing temperature in May and June, that the chances will be less because this virus will be not surviving when the temperature is high. But unfortunately, there are a lot of evidences are there that this virus is already surviving the area where the temperature is high. For example, the first case of COVID-19 came in India through the China in the Kerala, and we know the Kerala temperature is high, but still that infection was there. Similarly, UAE and UAE temperature is most of the time high. It is around 40 degrees centigrade, but there was a news item that the Saudi royal family, almost 500 people are suffering from the COVID-19. So it is again against that the temperature rise will help you to prevent the spread of this infection. All that is protection. No, it is not there. Similar with the hot bath, it is not going to help. Yes, but people, those are exposed to COVID-19 patients like healthcare workers, police personnel, cleaning people, they can use to wash their clothes in the hot water as well as with the soap. So that will help to de-infect their clothes and their items those are using during the hospitalization or working in the hospital period. So hot bath is not going to help, but your items, those are washable, can be used, can be cleaned with the hot water. That will be helpful, especially like that some of the PPE kits, those are reusable. They should be washed with the hot water and the soap. Next. Breathing for 10 seconds. So basically it is good that breathing exercises are always very helpful, but just for 10 seconds or recent onset of doing the breathing exercise will prevent you from not developing COVID-19. No, it is not like that. Because studies are telling that to improve your capacity of your lungs, it will take months, not the days or the seconds. So that we have to understand that. And you should do exercise, but same time you should take all precautions. Next myth is mosquito bite. So it is clear that the mosquito bite will not transmit this disease. So there is no question on that. Next. House flies. So there is no evidence that house flies can transmit the disease. But because house flies can carry that fomites from one place to another place, and that can be sometimes risky. So avoid whatever you are eating to the exposed and don't leave unattended or uncovered, because some fomites to these can cause a problem. So that otherwise also very helpful, because house flies can transmit so many other gastrointestinal diseases. So it is always better to avoid these kind of things. But myth that it not called the COVID-19. So it is clear there is not a source of COVID-19. Next. Hand dryers. It is not useful, should not be done, because that can cause more harm. Similarly, UV radiation, because UV radiation can be used to desanitize your various things like mobile cover, your keys, your rings or something like that, but should not be used for the human body. That may not be anyway protective. Next. Thermal scanners. So very, very important. Like we are doing thermal scanning to just look for the temperature. So if a person is having the temperature, meaning by that there is a possibility of having the COVID-19, but there is more than 1,000 causes of fever are already there. So that does not mean that a person is positive on thermal scanner is having the COVID, or who is negative on the thermal scanner is not having the COVID. So that is a clear that you should look for the other symptoms, other things also, not just depend on the thermal scanner. Next. Antibiotics, since we all know that it is a RNA virus and it does not have, antibiotics does not have any effect on that. Rather, many people in initial stages use the azithromycin, and actually the azithromycin caused more problem rather than benefit, because azithromycin is known to cause ECG abnormalities. So if you have a problem, you should use the antibiotics on the recommendation of the doctor, not on its own that you are having fever or you are started taking the antibiotics. Next. Hydroxychloroquine. So hydroxychloroquine is recommended by ICMR to use as a prophylaxis. We all know that India is main exporter of the hydroxychloroquine, and India supplied the hydroxychloroquine with the concept of the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means we will be safe, but we'll try to keep the world also safe. So India supplied the hydroxychloroquine, and it is recommended by ICMR to use as a prophylaxis. But there are not many studies to say that the hydroxychloroquine is protective, but there are the certain evidences are there. The hydroxychloroquine having action on the pneumocytes of the lung, and that will prevent from the development of the infection, of the severity of infection. But a word of caution is that don't believe 100% on that. You can take if you are a healthcare worker, or if you are exposed to that or likely to expose, you can use hydroxychloroquine, but still you take all other precaution as any other people are taking precaution. And hydroxychloroquine should not be used. Those are having the cardiac disease, those are having some ECG abnormalities, those are having the retinopathy. This drug should not be used. But the hydroxychloroquine can be used by the individuals those are suffering from diabetes, because hydroxychloroquine is the drug which is approved by the DCGI for the treatment of diabetes. And we can say that during this period where the COVID-19 is already there, if your glycemic control is not good and you are planning to change your some drug, then you can use the hydroxychloroquine, one of the drug treatment for the control of the blood glucose. Next. COVID-19 will remain for the lifetime. So it is difficult to answer this question, but obviously no disease persisted lifetime, whether it is smallpox, whether it is Spanish flu, whether it is SARS-CoV-2, whether it is MERC. So whatever it is, everything has a life, and everything will be taken care by the environment, nature. So don't worry, don't get panic. And I'm sure very soon we'll have the vaccine for that also. And indeed, there is today's news is there that the US is trying vaccine in some of the people, and they found effective. So they are entering the second phase of the trial. Next. Vaccine. To date, there is no vaccine is available in the market for treatment of COVID-19. But yes, we are looking for, we are optimistic, we are hopeful that within next 6 months, we'll have the 6 months to 1 year, we'll have the vaccine for the COVID-19. Next. So another thing, so this keep safe, keep well, and keep in touch with yourself. But one more thing I would like to say for a specific group of people, those are dealing with COVID-19 or those are likely to expose with the COVID-19, they can use, in addition to this 3-layer face mask, they can use the face shield as well, because that will protect from the direct fomite, as well as it will protect you from taking your hand to your nose or face because of this face shield. And these face shields can be used to prevent in a specific population, not for the general public. Next. So to end my presentation over here, we can take question and answer, but some of the disclaimer I am telling here is that I have told you more than I know about COVID-19. What I have told you is subject to change without notice, because it is a very dynamic situation. Every day things are changing. I hope I raised lot of questions than I given the answer. In any case, healthcare workers, the scientists, the researchers need lot of work to take care of the COVID-19 in the future. Thanks. Thank you very much for your patience listening. I'll be happy to answer if there is any question or comment related to the COVID-19.
Thank you, sir, for updating us with symptoms of COVID in detail and demystifying the common myths related to COVID. So now it's time to take up certain questions that have been asked by our participants. So the first question is that some of the people are suffering from breathing problem or cough due to seasonal allergies. So why they are considered as a patient for COVID?
Pardon, can you repeat your question?
Yes. So some of the people are suffering from breathing problem due to seasonal allergies. So
Okay.
why they are considered to be as COVID patients? Why they need to be screened?
Yeah, so basically there are these certain scores are there to decide about the COVID-19. Like PJ also developed a scoring system. On that scoring system, there are the certain points. The patient is having fever, patient is having the sore throat, patient is having breathlessness, patient is having chest finding. So on these all basis, if that is suggestive that patient can be a possibility of COVID-19, then it should be tested. But in general, without fever, just breathlessness alone, without sore throat, there is less likely possibility of having the COVID-19.
Okay, thank you, sir. So
don't
then,
need to test everyone who is having the breathlessness for the COVID-19.
okay. So then what are the exact measures that can be taken by pregnant women to prevent being infected by COVID-19?
So for the pregnant women, I don't think there is any separate guideline. There is any separate criteria is there. But since the pregnant woman is having relatively more risk, and that is involving the risk on 2% rather than the 1%. And third is they are going to hospitalize in the near future, and that will expose a lot of people at a time. That's why these people with the pregnant lady should be more cautious to avoid this kind of infection, not going out, not going to unnecessary places to meet the people. There is no separate guideline, but the reasons are more social and more practical reason, because that can cause the problem.
Okay, sir. So next query is that how to manage with mask in office, as wearing masks for longer hours as well as anxiety?
Yeah, that is absolutely true, and that is more and more information is coming on that if you use masks, especially N95 for a longer period of time, and actually it sometimes causes the decrease in the oxygen level also. So the best idea is that keep a distancing, like in offices, and this is, we know all that government is already declared that you should work with the 50% of the capacity of the offices, so that adequate physical distancing is maintained. And you should use, or you can work for 4 to 5 hours at a stretch, and then you can go off. Or you can say in offices, if there is lot of people are there, they can divide duties in 2 times. So at a time, one team can work for the few hours, then next team can come and work for next few hours. So that is a possibility. But yes, it is well known that N95 mask for longer period of time can cause some kind of lowering the oxygen level. And especially the problem is increases, those are people using the PPE and they are working, like in hospitals where the people are working. And you know that now that's why the duties are reduced to 6 to 7 hours. Instead of earlier people used to do 12 hours duty, night duties. Now it is 6 hours or 7 hours only.
So there
Okay.
is also, so Bikram, can I just ask? So there's a question from many people how to wash the onions and green leafy vegetables when they are buying it from outside.
Well, I think that is very interesting and the important question, because everybody has to take these vegetables and all. And there can be a source of transmission of infection. So first and most important thing is that starting from when you are purchasing the vegetables, don't go very near to your vendor, because you might be having infection. Ensure when you are purchasing vegetable, you wear the mask, and the vendor should also wear the mask. Preferably purchase a vendor who is wearing the gloves. That's important. Then don't bring the vegetables in the say bag or in the thela. Better to bring the vegetables into the bucket actually, and take that bucket directly to the those are you are supposed to wash. Take them on the warm water, put some salt so that there is increase in the osmolality, or you can put some meetha soda also, so that will help to kill these germs. And then green leafy vegetable is a problem, because once you put them in the hot water, if you don't use in few hours, that will spoil after some time. So that is a problem for that. So you use the same day. But other things like you are purchasing like potato, like onion, you can keep, don't touch them for the 48 hours, keep away, and after that you can use it. Or others vegetables you can wash on the warm water, that will be helpful.
Sir, is it safe to use soap and water to wash the fruits and vegetables?
So people were using soap and water because this virus is cleaned with the any organic substance, but it may not be very safe, because some amount of that detergent will enter into the pulp through the surface of the vegetable. So better to avoid, and the best idea is to do in the wash in the warm water
Okay.
with some salt and bleaching, salt and the meetha soda.
Right.
Okay. So salt and meetha soda can be used at the same time?
Yeah,
Both
same with the warm
same,
water. Yes.
same time.
And
And
people are
sir,
actually using the vinegar also. Vinegar is also another good choice. You can
yes,
put a
yes.
teaspoon of vinegar in that hot water. That will
Okay.
clean.
Sir, and what about potassium permanganate?
Well, potassium permanganate is mainly used for to clean the surfaces.
Okay.
So this potassium permanganate also will enter into the vegetable if you use for a longer period of time. And
Okay.
if you are not sure that how it is going to help, and for a longer period of time, it may cause some toxicity. So my suggestion
Okay.
is, till we have the more information on that, better to avoid that KMNO4.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Some questions
sir.
are popping up more. One of the questions is, can we use ACs at home? And another one is, are there any traces that animals do we get infected due to animals?
So there is no direct evidence, or there is no direct studies that animal are infected, animal can cause the problem. But very simple about, I think, pet dogs especially, because in the pet dog in India, they are taking out for the necessary things like for the glue and the this number 2, etc. So if they walking on the floor, walking on the place where there is some fomites, they may touch to them, and you may bring to them into the house. And many places these pets are sitting in your sofa, in your bed, and everywhere. So that can be actually a problem. So when you are taking them out, bring them while better to clean their paw very properly and then bring them in the home rather than without clean taking them to the home.
Okay, sir. So then our next query is that how frequently should our offices or workplaces be sanitized?
How frequently to be sanitized?
Yes, our workplaces and offices.
So I think 2-3 things are there, because in general, whole office is not required to sanitize until unless any positive patient is there or was there. That is one
Okay.
thing. But where you are working the workspace, like your table, your chair, your computer, you are sharing, then at least twice a day, maybe when you are coming to the office and going to the office, it should be clean. And your person is changing to work like that. After one person, other person is coming, they can use that.
Okay, sir. So then what type of face mask should be used? Is N95 compulsory for everyone, or a cloth mask can do, or a 3-ply mask can do? It is sufficient.
So it depends on the who is using this mask. If a doctor is using, a healthcare worker is using, a person who is working in the hospital is using, advisable is 3-layer mask or N95 mask. But
Okay.
for a general population, for a general public, going to market, going to walk, going to street, there is no need to use N95 or 3-layer mask, because that will not going to help anything extra. So for them, homemade mask should be cleaned every day. That can be sufficient.
Okay. So can N95 mask be washed?
Yeah, so there is again not many studies are there, but people are using N95 mask. But what I'll suggest is one good idea is, practical point is that a person can use 5 N95 masks. 5 means he can have 5 masks.
Okay.
So on day 1, he can use the first mask, and after coming home, put that mask in one envelope, mark it as a 1. Similarly, second day he can use the second mask, mark, come home and put that mask in that labeled envelope 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have the 4, 5 masks. You put them number 4, 5, and then you can reuse after 5th day first mask. So there is already the mask is for 3 or 4 days. Also, it is self sanitized, so you can use that. But that also is a limit. It's not like that is a limitless. You can use for any period of time.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay,
there
sir.
is a question coming repeatedly about use of air conditioners at home. So we should we use ACs or not?
So yes, now this is the problem is about to come, that now air conditioners are. So I think it is not very well studied this area again, that this air conditioners can be a source of infection for the COVID-19. So at this point of time, what I can say is that use for a limited period of time. That is the best idea, rather than using for a longer period of time. As and when required, use it. Don't use it unnecessary for a prolonged period of time, because at home, I don't think there is a major issue, because if anybody is not infected, then it is not going to cause harm. But the places where the crowd is there, more number of people are there, even one person is infected can come, and that fomites can keep rotating in that air, that can be harmful. But still there is final word is about to come, not yet.
Right.
So then our next query is that how should we clean the surfaces such as doorknobs or metal surfaces? Should we use the sanitizers or sodium hypochlorite solution or detergents? What is the best?
Well, for the metal, there is no problem. You can use your sanitizer, alcohol-based sanitizer. You can use sodium hypochlorite solution, or few things are again some of the things we are not using day-to-day regular basis. You can keep them for 48 hours and then you can use them. And nowadays the people are coming with UV radiation. So people are making some of the sophisticated instrument to do the UV radiation, and that you can use the metallic items, you can clean by that.
Okay, sir.
Another question sir raised is wearing hand gloves for 12 hours is causing skin infections. Is that true or not? Because some people are not going to work and wearing hand gloves throughout the
Yes,
day.
it can. Yes, it can cause because of the sweating. There is some fungal infections. There is a possibility by wearing gloves for longer period of time. So you should remove the gloves in between, and then you can, if required, you can again wear those gloves.
Right, sir. So another question is raised is what we can predict for the future. Though it is very hard to answer this question, but what we can predict for the future for this COVID.
Yeah, so as I shown in my last slide that things are very dynamic, we are very optimistic, we are very hopeful. And as Dr. Virender already said in his, when he was deliberating on the information that we are fortunate that in our country the mortality touchwood is not that bad as compared to the many developed countries. And one of the reason is that our country does not have very high number of population of senior citizens. Like in Italy, Spain and US where there is almost 40% of people are having above 65 years. On the contrary, in India, we have 12 to 15% of people above 65 years. So that is also one of the important factor that we are young at younger age. Another thing is that hygiene hypothesis, that is very commonly used term in the medical term, that hygiene hypothesis, meaning by that when you are keep exposing yourself to various antigens, various infections, your body will generate lot of antibodies to against to them, so that your body is tuned to generate good amount of antibody, or in another term I would say that is good immunity. So probably we have better immunity, that may be one of the cause that mortality is less. And I'm sure hopeful by this, having these kind of various webinars, seminars, keep interacting the people, informing the people, and a strict compliance to the physical distancing, regular washing, all these things will be very helpful, and nothing to worry, nothing to scare off, because if in a person develop the COVID-19, all will never die. So it is not like that you are developed the COVID-19, so everything is over. No, it's not like this. But same time, the caution is important, that we should be very careful.
So we have a query that although many researchers in India and abroad have developed rapid antibody test kits, which are not as effective as RT-PCR test. So what is the future of COVID-19 testing in India, as we are lagging in testing rate relative to other countries?
Yeah, I think now we are doing good amount of testing. That is not a problem. Antibody test has its own limitations, because the test result will start come positive after 7 days. Not before that. IgM level will come rise starting after 7 days. On the contrary, the RT-PCR, which actually detect the viral antigen from your throat, that will give you start rising on day 1 itself. So that's why the gold standard is the RT-PCR only. So IgM can be in, say you can say the shortcut, and for a very urgent emergency basis, because it can do it very quickly. On the contrary, RT-PCR will take some time, few hours. So you can use that antibodies, but not as a sole substitution of the RT-PCR.
Okay, sir. So how safe are the use of bakery items? Should they be purchased? And if they should be purchased, for what time they should be kept untouched?
I think the best idea is maybe 48 hours is enough. You should not use. After that, you can use it.
So because the temperatures are rising, so is it safe to store the bakery products in a refrigerator, or it should be kept outside?
I think better to you use those bakery, those are not temperature. I think current guideline it will be better, because if you use them, if they are infected, all things will go wrong. So for time being, practical suggestion is that use those bakery items, those are not destroyed with the temperature, that is preferred.
So my next query is that in a country like India, where a lot of people opt for self-medication, what is your opinion regarding use of hydroxychloroquine as a self-medication for prophylaxis?
I think my answer is we should not go for the self-medication. People, those are at high risk, or they are likely to expose to the COVID-19, they only take. Everyone should not take, because sometimes they have some side effects that can be a problem. So it should not be generalized that everybody started taking the chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine or azithromycin. It should be avoided.
Okay. So can you suggest some immunoboosters, like use of vitamin C, how much
So
amount of,
I'm
yeah.
not sure about the immunobooster, but one thing is sure, that is vitamin D and vitamin C are useful. Especially vitamin D is very useful because it is having immunomodulatory effect. And nowadays, or in last 2 months, people were in the lockdown, so were at home. So the vitamin D synthesis from skin may not be optimum. So
Yes.
all patients can take the vitamin D, and there are certain studies are there that vitamin D is helping. Indeed, actually, I had in presentation some pictures were there. In the first picture itself is there that in this era of COVID-19, people are growing their beard. So that is not advisable to all. Should not grow their beard, because that can be a source of fomite. Second problem is that when we are wearing mask, and we know that vitamin D synthesis best takes place in your skin of the face. Remaining part is often covered. So if your skin is covered, further covered by putting the face mask when you are going out, so that vitamin D synthesis further, there is further reduction is there. So I advise that everyone should take vitamin D supplementation during this period. That will be helpful, and there is very minimal risk of toxicity of the vitamin D. Many people are advocating vitamin C. Can take vitamin C, or in your diet supplementation you can take lemon. It is good source of vitamin C. It is widely available, not very costly, and in Indian cooking or our drinks, the lemon is very commonly or fondly used. So we can use that rather than going for the vitamin C tablets.
Okay, sir. So one more question in this context, that what is the impact of this stress and panic due to COVID on immunity?
Panic.
Yeah.
So anything causing panic, or any panic, say, period, can reduce your immunity. That is very well known. That is very well known. So the message is that we should not get panic. And I think now we are already, the time of panic is over. We already more than 2 months, 3 months, we are living with the corona.
Yes.
And so we should not be worried about that. We should not get panic. And one more thing I would like to tell is that do good exercise. That is very important, because many people are complaining that they are in the their flat or their floors, how they can do exercise or run or something like that. I want to tell you that in last 60 days almost, every day I did the 10,000 steps every day, 10,000 steps. And I'm living in a flat that is the first floor, and that has a balcony of 10 by 12 feet, and in a house, you can say this 10 marla first floor. So every day I did the 10,000 to 12,000 steps. So it is possible, and you can do good other physical activities at home. And good idea I'll tell you is that, because time is also constant, of course. So when I was watching the Mahabharata, I used to do the jogging while watching the Mahabharata. So that I use that time, and that is very interesting that you can use your time, do exercise, and that can be done. And today morning already I done the 6,000 steps by now. So
Great, sir.
it is possible to do the exercise appropriately. No problem, not at all.
Sir, and are there any special immunoboosters for diabetic patients?
So the best immunobooster for diabetic patient is good glycemic control. And the good glycemic control will come from the diet, exercise, and their adequate anti-diabetic medication. That is the best immunobooster.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And sir, there was a thing that there is effect that certain blood groups are more susceptible to develop COVID.
Blood group
Can
people.
you please comment? Yes, people with a certain type of blood group are more susceptible to develop COVID.
So thank you
Is it
very
a
much. I am not aware of this information.
is this a myth or?
It's good if we'll know, and that because we are collecting data from India as well as from other part of the world also. So we'll let you know maybe next meeting that is there any blood group is directly associated with or not. And before ending, I will tell you one more thing about the cash, COVID, and currency.
Okay.
Like funding
Yes.
is another important area, and we published one paper also on that in Postgraduate Medical Journal that how to use the cash currency and in this COVID period. So first most important thing is that use minimum exchange of money. Don't use money, lena dena, don't do that. So you can nearby your storekeeper give them 1,000 rupees. He can keep account of that what you brought. Don't take any money from back him. And whenever you purchase, just ask him to cut my account how much. That is one thing. Similar thing you can do with your vegetable vendor as well, because if you know him, then you can trust that you can give 500 rupees. You can do that. Second, currency you have to take at all. Then you can have the 3 boxes. So bring the currency, keep one box. Next time another box. Next time another box. When this first box is already 3-day old, take out that currency. You can use it. Then the people are doing where these things are not possible, like hospitals where people are actually doing the iron on the currency notes. So that you can keep on the nylon temperature and you can iron that, and that can be your currency will be sanitized, sorry, not desanitized. And then you can ultraviolet rays also. People are use the ultraviolet rays. So there is many ways of using the currency properly, but I think these small things can change because currency once you put in your purse, you'll take your purse in home, hospital, you are keeping card in your purse, so many things in your purse that will be once get infected, sometimes can be very, very risky and crazy. So best to avoid that and use these other alternative methods.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, and how much mobile phones have contributed to the spread of coronavirus?
So there is evidence that there is guidelines, suggestions that you should not use mobiles because especially the cover of mobile are very infected because there are a lot of ridges on that because every mobile has the fancy covers and that small spaces in the covers are there that can be fomites. So you should avoid that, and there is because that on directly corona may not be studies, but there's already the studies are there. The people those are working in the hospitals taking their mobiles in ICU. In fact, the mobiles are one of the most common cause of source of infection. So it should be true for the COVID as well. So we should avoid using if you are going for your workplace for 3 hours. Don't take your mobile because maybe 20 years ago people were living without mobile also. So you can try those things as well.
Right, sir. So we'll just quickly wind up and take this one last question. Sir, is it so that the cases are already there in India and more the tests we are doing, more we are getting to know that the tests are increasing? Because earlier the number of tests were very less. Now the number of tests are increasing. So is it so the patients are already affected and we are just getting to know that the patients are affected due to the increasing number of tests?
So I think I would like to answer this question 2 ways. It is not 100% true, but this is fact that when you test, you will get the positivity. That is one thing. On the contrary, in various in initial stage, especially in Punjab, what was happening that reported mortality was very high. The reason was that people those were tested, those were sick actually. But subsequently, when the testing was more widespread, all of a sudden the mortality rate came down actually. So yes, if you test more, number will come more, but same time probably you reduce your rate of mortality as well. So it is advisable to test more, but still I'll say because we are a huge country, 1.35 billion people are there, you cannot test everyone, and that is not recommended, not required, and And we have to follow. It is not like that the Western people are testing everybody, we start testing everybody, we should start testing everybody. No, it is not required. एक चीज होता है ना कि do in Rome what Romans do. There is a famous saying कि आपको अपने आप पे कैसा सूट करता है वही चीज करना चाहिए, ऐसे नहीं कि दूसरी तरफ देख करके सब चीज वो करना शुरू करें. So that is not required.
So one last query I would like to ask is that in people who are having a routine practice, like the doctors who are running their OPDs, their hospitals, and physiotherapists, so who are coming in contact with the patients, is it mandatory to wear a PPE kit, or wearing a face shield and mask and gloves will do?
So any procedure require the PPE kit. Any procedure. So people those are involved with the procedure, they should. Any procedure where people are supposed to in touch for more than 15 minutes with the patient, is irrespective of he is infected or not, it is advisable to use PPE kit and other things. But not for everyone. But again, it is a subjective, because we cannot say that you should not use. We never know that one patient when and how he can be infected can cause a problem. So certain guidelines are there. 15 minutes you are doing any procedure, you should use the PPE kit. Otherwise, it's okay. Then otherwise, the face mask, face shield, and the double gloves will be good.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a wonderful question answer session. We are getting a overwhelming response from our participants, and they have really liked the session. Thank you, sir. So now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Dr. Pritpal Singh ji, to share a few words with us.
Respected Dr. Vrinder Garg, OST to President and Principal Investigator, Center for Innovation and Biodesign, PGI Chandigarh, Dr. Sanjay, Professor of Endocrinology and President, Endocrinology Society of India, Dr. Supreet Bindra, Ms. Shruti Agarwal, and the audience. A very good afternoon to all of you. So basically, with the start of digital age, we are getting a lot of information, but at the same time, with the start of this COVID-19 pandemic, it has become a breeding ground for various types of superstitions and myths that have been circulating throughout in the digital media, and people are sharing it in a very frequent manner. So this has caused a lot of confusion among the public, and the motive of today's seminar is to aware the general public, staff and students of the university about the various myths and the clinical facts and the global versus India scenario in case of COVID-19. So I am highly thankful to Dr. Vrinder Garg, who has given the statistics on global versus India scenario of pandemic COVID-19, and Dr. Sanjay, who has given a detailed account of various myths that are being circulated among the public through various types of media, particularly WhatsApp, and the critical facts that are there. Though a lot of research is going on the COVID-19, but not much concrete clinical evidences have come out so far. So as Dr. Vrinder Garg said that presently more than 48 lakh people are affected throughout the world, and there have been about 3 lakh deaths all over the globe. Now, if we compare this pandemic with the 1918 scenario of Spanish flu, where there was mortality of about 50 million, more than 5 crores. So this figure is comparatively less, but we can't make us satisfy that we are in a comfortable position, because every life is precious. So we must make efforts to save each and every life. And in the Indian context, the situation is much better. About 1 lakh active cases, and there has been a death of about 3,100 people. And at present, there are 58,000 active cases, and about 1,000 people have cured and they have returned to their homes after the treatment. So mortality rate, if we see the global scenario, that is around 5 to 6%. But in India, we are in a much comfortable position where the mortality rate is between 3 to 4%. Basically, this has been due to the efforts of the government of India, who has imposed lockdown timely, and the people also obeyed it. Basically, the India has given the evidence that India is a very mature nation. And even when the first instance of lockdown was announced, that was willful lockdown called Janta curfew, even then the people preferred to lock themselves in their homes. And this has resulted in the situation that we are having much better position in India as compared to rest of the world. So during this very long lockdown, which we have seen in our lives first time, so the people have exercised utmost restraint, and also they cooperated with the authorities and the government and the doctors and the other organizations fighting as front warriors in case of COVID. So I am thankful that all the citizens of India, they have played their part, and the government has also played its part to make the people comfortable. So basically, number of messages you can see on WhatsApp that I am a doctor from Wuhan, and if we keep on drinking warm water, after some time we will not have corona, or the young people don't catch corona, only the elderly people are prone to corona, and many more myths that Dr. Sanjay has discussed. So these myths have made the confusion very profound, and I think this webinar will all clear all the myths about the various myths that are circulating in the social media. Basically, in this age of global pandemic, almost 213 countries, as Dr. Sanjay told, they are affected. Means whole of the world is affected. And the common symptoms, as Dr. Sanjay told, are fever, sore throat, breathlessness. Basic problem in India is that most of the times we depend on self-medication, and we don't prefer to go to the doctor. So basically, the message is that we should not resort to the self-medication, and whenever we see any symptoms, we should consult a doctor. So there are other problems also, like I was reading in a newspaper yesterday that one youth, he was jogging and he wore a N95 mask and he died because of breathlessness. So basically, we need to learn all the facts or the necessary conditions where to wear a mask and what type of mask we are to wear, or what type of sanitizer is required. So all these things, they must be known to the public so that we can avoid such type of situations. The basic problem is that corona, as I have learned from the newspapers or various other media, every person, even if he is child or young or old, all are prone to corona, but the mortality rate is higher in case of children or elders. The basic problem is the children have a low immunity, whereas the elders normally have a disease condition. Today itself, one of the young person of 35 years in Sharpur that died of corona yesterday. The basic problem was that he was suffering from diabetes. So basically, with the change in the lifestyle and the dietary patterns, we need to take care that we remain active in life, and we should work out for a specific time every day. As Dr. Sanjay told that even in a small place, he is having about 6,000 steps by noon today. So this is an inspiration from Dr. Sanjay that whatever may be the conditions, whether it is lockdown, we can have many ways to keep us active. We can walk on the balconies, we can walk on the rooftop, or we can have a cycle, or we can have a sport jumping. So there are many methods, there are many apps, there are many TV channels now available which tell us how to keep us active. So these are for different age groups, different types of exercise are prescribed. So we should keep ourselves active, and we should avoid the conditions like in India, the diabetic people, they are detected at a very young age. So this is not a positive sign. So this decreases immunity. So we should take home message that we should keep fit and we should do physical activity, whether we are in the young age or whether we are in the old age. So we should have some type of activity. And secondly, we should have a balanced diet, and we should avoid that fast food. Basically, the things that I have learned from this webinar is that personal hygiene is very important. And secondly, we should cover the mouth with a mask whenever we go to the market or some other place, we go outdoors. And we must choose a specific type of mask that is required to be worn. We should not go for always N95 mask. And thirdly, the social distance, which is very important because the spread of the disease is through the droplets that come out from the respiratory system. So basically, the social distance, whether we are present in our homes or we are present in some public place or we are shopping or we are in our offices, social distance is the key to prevent the spread of this pandemic. And other thing is that the sale of sanitizers has increased too much, and many people are frequently using the sanitizer. Even if we are sitting at our homes, we are frequently using the sanitizer. I have studied, Dr. Sanjay can explain that the sanitizer removes the protective layer on the hands that protects us from the various types of bacteria and viruses. And if we repeatedly use the sanitizer, then it will destroy the protective layer on the hands, and we will become prone to many types of infections. So when sitting at homes or in our offices where there is a availability of soap and water, we should prefer using soap and water instead of sanitizer. Sanitizer, I think, should be used only at the places where there is no availability of water. Otherwise, soap and water, they are the best thing. And last but not least, we should avoid self-medication. Because as Dr. Sanjay told, that antibiotics like azithromycin, and many times when we feel body ache, we take Brufen. So both these medicines are very harmful in case we are infected with corona. So we should avoid self-medication, and whenever we feel any symptoms, we must seek opinion of a qualified doctor. And last, the mantra that is in the Indian context, that we should always keep ourselves in high spirits. As Dr. Sanjay also told, that when we are in high spirit, the immunity level is high, and whenever we feel depressed, the immunity level decreases and we become more prone to infections. So the concept of Chardhi Kala, as we are most familiar with in Punjab, that is, I think, the mantra to fight with the COVID. There are many people who were in the very elderly stage, 100 years old or 92 years old. There are many cases who have survived the attack only because they were in high spirits. So I once again thank all the panelists as well as the audience for participating in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. So with this, we come to the end of this webinar, and the take-home message is that we should now adopt a realistic approach. As for now, no one can predict that when COVID will disappear. So we need to gradually prepare ourselves for returning to this new normal with adequate protection for the vulnerable, precautions of distancing and hygiene, which is the most optimum strategy. And the peak of disease can be avoided if the prescribed do's and don'ts are followed. So I'm highly grateful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, our panelists for such a detailed information on COVID, and participants who have spared their valuable time for this webinar. It is rightly said that together one achieves more. We are fortunate enough to be backed by our technical team, Dr. Shruti Agarwal and Mr. Rajveer Dhanjal, for successful organization of this webinar. Thank you so much. For more information on upcoming webinars, you can visit our university website www.sggswu.edu.in. We are having one webinar on Shahadat the Sikh Sankalp on 20th May and another webinar on post-COVID-19 challenges and opportunities for Indian economy on 22nd May. So it's time to take a leave from all of you. Thank you once again. Stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.
Thank you. Okay.